The film begins where we are shown that 5 years ago meteors have hit Earth and an alien species called mimics have come. They attacked many countries of Earth and can anticipate when human will attack them. Finally, at a place called Verdun, humans have won for the first time, and we see Major Cage giving an interview to a news channel. He says that the hero of Verdun was Sergeant Rita, who wore the new fight suit and killed 100 mimics in one day. Major Cage is media spokesman and goes to London in a helicopter. At the headquarters, he meets General Brigham, lets him about Operation Downfall. In this, the military is launching a surprise attack on the aliens next day. Brigham wants Cage to go to France with cameras and show the world that he is also fighting the war. Cage is surprised to hear this and says he is public relations officer with no knowledge of battle and refuses to go. Brigham says he has no choice and asks him to consider it in order. Cage threatens to use his public relations skills to turn the public against Brigham if he forces him to go. Brigham gets angry on Cage and asks for his arrest for treason and blackmail. Cage tries to run from there, but is caught and gets knocked out. Next day, he wakes in handcuffs at a forward operating base at Heathrow Airport. Cage meets Sergeant Farrell and explains his situation and requests for a phone call, to which Farrell agrees. Soon Cage realizes that Farrell isn't taking him to make a phone. He learns that he has been labeled a deserter and put on combat duty. He learns that he has been demoted from major to private. Farrell makes Cage meet with J Squad, with whom he has been assigned. Farrell discovers that the squad has been playing poker and makes them chew the cards. He informs the squad members about Cage and asks them to make him ready for combat for next day. The next morning, Cage is put in a fighting suit where he seems scared and nervous. We also see Rita, who gets ready and leaves for battle. Cage and others board a plane and go towards the battlefield. During their flight, Farrell motivates the soldiers, where some members make fun of Cage, seeing him nervous. When they are about to jump off the plane, their plane gets attacked and half of it blows away. Many soldiers are killed and many jump off. Cage is the last one to jump off the plane. He somehow manages to land and sees chaos around him and also sees his teammate die. Cage tries to participate in the war, but is unable to select proper language also in his suit. He falls in hole and sees Rita fighting mimics from a distance. Suddenly something hits Rita which kills her instantly, and Cage cannot believe what has happened. The other soldiers realize that the enemy somehow knew they were coming and were prepared. Suddenly a group of mimics attack Cage and others, where Cage manages to kill one. Suddenly a large mimic comes from behind, and Cage tries to kill him with explosive. Cage manages to kill Mimic, but gets caught in the explosion and dies as he is sprayed with its acid-like blood. He then wakes up at Heathrow Airport the previous morning, and the day is repeating itself. He has the same conversation with Farrell and also meets the J Squad again. The next morning he again wears his suit and travels in the same plane, having same old talks. The plane gets attacked and Cage manages to land on beach. This time Cage manages to save Rita, but he gets attacked by a mimic and dies. The day repeats again, and when Cage tries to tell Farrell and J Squad about it, they don't believe him. They tie his mouth and send him on the plane, where the plane gets attacked again. After landing on the beach, Cage tries to save his teammate's life, but gets killed instead. The day repeats again, and this time Cage finds Rita on battlefield and saves her life. Rita realizes about Cage and asks him to meet her when he wakes up again at base. When Cage wakes up, he hides the poker cards from Farrell and saves the squad. Later, when they are exercising, Cage manages to escape from there in search of Rita. He finds Rita exercising in another base and tells her about their meeting. Rita explains that when Cage died, the blood of the mimic gave him powers to repeat the day. So, whenever Cage dies, the days repeats itself, and Rita knows this because she also had this power but lost it. Rita takes Cage to meet Dr. Carter, a former government scientist and expert in mimic biology. Carter tells Cage the mimic he killed in his first loop was an alpha. Alpha sends signal when it is killed to give the mimics an advantage in battle. All mimics are controlled by Omega, who gets the signal from Alpha and resets the time. Omega learns about the future and changes it so they can win the battle. Rita tells Cage that the Omega wanted humans to believe that they could win, so it allowed Rita to win in Verdun. After which the humans put everything into their battle at France and will be defeated here once and for all. Cage inherited this ability when he was doused in the Alpha's blood as they both died. Rita wants Cage to help them to win the battle with his ability to die each day to reset time. Carter tells Cage that the Omega has lost power to reset time to Cage and will be mentally looking for him. When Omega finds Cage, Cage will start having visions of the Omega's location. Rita tells Cage to find the Omega and give her its location so he can kill him. Cage says he does not even have basic training and Rita decides to train him. After failing in the training, Rita tells Cage that whenever he is injured, he has to make sure to die. Rita had this ability in a previous battle in Verdun, but lost it after receiving a blood transfusion. Rita kills Cage and the day loops again, and Cage wakes up again. Rita is training Cage with robots and drones where he keeps getting defeated by them and Rita keeps killing Cage to reset the day. During one of the loops, Cage has a vision where he sees the Omega in a dam and informs Carter and Rita about it. They discover the dam is near mountain, and they need to leave the battlefield and go it. They try many times escaping the beach, but keep on dying one way or the other. Cage gets tired of trying and decides to leave the base during one loop. He goes to the city to have a drink and comes to a bar, but suddenly hears something and goes outside. Cage sees and realizes the mimics were planning on overrunning the city during the invasion on the beach. Cage decides to resume his training and now we see he is improving on battlefield as well. He kills mimics easily and informs Rita they die every time they approach a car to escape. This time they manage to escape in a car and when mimics attack them, Cage defeats them and kills them. Later they reach a house and find a helicopter and Cage notices Rita is injured. When Cage is applying bandage to Rita, she says they need to find the keys to the helicopter to get out of here. Cage tells her to relax and wait since it will be dark soon and tells her to enjoy her coffee. Rita suddenly realizes that Cage is lying and asks how many times they have been here. Cage gives her the keys and says Rita dies here every time when they try to leave from helicopter. Rita doesn't listen to him and starts the helicopter and the mimic attacks her. Cage tries to kill Mimic, but the helicopter crashes and Rita dies, and Cage resets the day. This time Cage decides not to tell Rita about his powers and takes the helicopter on his own to the dam. When he arrives at the dam, he discovers that the Omega is not there. He is attacked by Alpha who want to steal his blood and prevent him from resetting the day. Cage manages to kill himself and tells Rita and Carter that his vision was a trick. Rita says they need to search for a prototype built by Carter that will allow Cage to discover the Omega's true location. The device is a transponder which, once attached to an Alpha, finds the location of the Omega. The device is in Ministry of Defense with General Brigham and decide to get it. After several loops, they enter the ministry and meet General Brigham. Cage is able to convince Brigham to give him the device, as he predicts the future accurately to him. Cage sticks the device in his leg to activate the prototype as he is an Alpha now. He finds the location of the Omega, which is under the Louvre Pyramid in Paris. While escaping from there, their car gets damaged and they are injured, get unconscious. Cage's life is saved by a blood transfusion, but it removes his ability to reset the day. When Rita finds him and is about to kill, Cage tells her blood transfusion and she stops. They decide to kill the Omega before the invasion starts and go meet the J Squad. Cage manages to convince them to join their team by telling each member's personal things. On their way to Paris, the team is given instructions not to kill the Alpha, since the Omega will reset the day. After reaching Paris, their plane is attacked and crashes. The other squad members decide to create a distraction to get the attention of the mimics and get killed. Cage and Rita use the plane to get to the Louvre to find the Omega. They fight many mimics and reach the underground location of the Omega. Rita decides to distract the Alpha and tells Cage to go to the Omega. The Alpha kills Rita and goes after Cage and injures him badly. Cage has managed to drop a grenade belt into the Omega's core, destroying it and neutralizing the other mimics. Cage's body absorbs the Omega's blood and the day resets again. He wakes up in the helicopter, just like the start on his way to his meeting with General Brigham for first time. Brigham announces that mimic activity has ceased following a power surge in Paris, and the enemy is defeated. Cage is never arrested and he goes to Heathrow, where he finds his squad mates, including Farrell. None of them recognize him and treat him respectfully as an officer, as he is once again a major. He meets Rita, who does not recognize him either. She asks what he wants, as she had many times before, and he smirks and laughs.